welcome to another episode of Monix. My name is Moyo Sere. I just want to say thank you to every one of you who have subscribed to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, liking, and sharing my videos. I appreciate your support. So today is story time. So I have a story to share with you about a mess I made a while back when I was a teenager. But before I share the story with you, let me give you a background. African and Nigerian to be precise, and I know that in most African homes, if I'm not wrong, mothers teach their children how to cook. In my own case, my mother taught my siblings and I how to cook, so everyone knows how to cook. But in my specific case, I never really paid attention to cooking. I never really paid attention to all those chores until I got to senior year in my secondary school. So at this point, my siblings had all gone to college, so it was just my parents and I living together in the house. On this fateful day, my mom went to work, and when she came back to the house, she came back with beef and also a mixture of blended pepper. The plan for her was to cook beef stew. But when my mom got home, she called me into her room, and the specific instruction she gave me was that I should go ahead and cook the beef. But I did not pay attention to the instruction. What I thought I heard her say was that I should go ahead and make the beef stew. At this point, to be honest with you, I was troubled, I was worried, I was stressed out. But I never expressed all of these feelings in my mother's presence. I did not express any of these feelings to her at all. So what I did was that I went into the kitchen. So when I got into the kitchen, I sat down and I began to think. So what do I do next? Which should come first? Should I cook the beef first, or should I pour everything together in the same pot and allow it to cook for some time? I mean, I was so confused. I didn't know what to do. But being a girl who has been growing up in an African home, I didn't have the courage. I did not have the effrontery to go back to my mother to ask her for clarification. I could not go back to her to ask her that, Mommy, what exactly do you want me to do? Because I was not ready to be spanked. I was not ready to have that mother-daughter talk with my mother, where she would sit me down and start telling me, oh, you don't pay attention, you need to pay attention, as a girl, you need to be... I didn't want to have any of those conversations with my mother, so I did not go to her for clarification. I did not go to ask her, Mommy, what am I supposed to do? And prior to that time, my mother did all the cooking in the house, and whenever she was to cook, she would call me into the kitchen so that I would watch her cook, so that I would know the right steps to take to make beans, to make rice, to cook any of those things. But all along, I never paid attention to her. So on this particular day, I saw the results of not paying attention. Yes, I saw the results. So while there in the kitchen, I thought to myself, Moyo, what will you do? There was no YouTube for me to consult. My sisters were not around. There was nobody to consult. There was nobody to help me. So I just told myself, just follow your mind. Cook whatever you can cook. And if you make a mess, if you get spanked, you deserve it. If you get to have that mother-daughter conversation with your mother eventually, well deserved. So what I did was that I took out the meat from the pack. I went to the zinc. I rinsed the meat. I rinsed it thoroughly. After I rinsed it, I put everything in a pot, and I put the pot on the cooker. I took out all the seasonings we had in the house. I added a quantity of everything. It's like 5 minutes thereabouts. I added the mixture of blended pepper. I added groundnut oil. I just mixed everything all together in the pot and sat back. About 15 minutes afterwards, my mom called me into her room and asked me if the beef was already boiling. So I responded in the positive. I told my mom, yes, I'm already boiling the beef. So she told me that I should go to the kitchen and get her all the seasonings, so that she would measure a quantity of all the seasonings for me to add to the beef on fire. At this point, I was like, to myself now, I didn't say it out, I was like, I've done the wrong thing, no. But I didn't say anything to her. I just quietly went back to the kitchen. I took all the seasonings to her, and then she measured everything. And you know what I did? I quickly went back to the kitchen, took out all the beef from the mess that I had made, took the beef to the zinc, rinsed them thoroughly, put them in a separate pot, and then added the quantity of seasoning my mother measured out for me. So I started cooking the beef separately in another pot. So for the mix that I earlier had, I took it off the gas cooker, I put it somewhere to settle. So I left it to settle. A few minutes later, my mom called me again, and then she asked me, oh, so is the meat done now? Are you done boiling the beef? I answered her in the positive. So she said to me, in a few minutes, I'll come join you in the kitchen so that I can make the beef stew. At this point, I didn't know what to do again. I was so confused, because I had thought that she wanted me to make the whole beef stew in the first place. So at this point, I realized that she didn't want me to even make the stew. She only wanted me to boil the beef so that she would make the stew by herself much later. So at this point, I knew that there was trouble, that if my mother came into the kitchen with me, she was going to spank me, and I was not ready to be spanked. So what I did was that I just told her, Mom, I'm already cooking the beef, so don't worry yourself, everything is well taken care of. And she was like, I didn't tell you to cook the beef stew, I only told you to make the beef. But I had to protect myself somehow, so I told her, Mommy, I'm already cooking it, don't worry. So she was like, I'm sure you're going to make a mess, but anyways, let's see what you come up with. So I went back to the kitchen, I turned off the gas cooker, I took out the beef that was already cooking in a separate pot now, and then I tossed everything into the other pot where I had the mix of the blended pepper, the groundnut oil, and all the nonsense I had earlier done, and I put everything back on the gas cooker. So I stirred everything together, covered it, and after some time, maybe 20 minutes or 30, I really can't remember exactly how many minutes I left it on the gas cooker for, but after some time I turned the gas cooker off and I went to meet my mom, and I told her, Mom, I'm done cooking the beef stew. So she asked me if I was sure I did the right thing. I said, Mommy, of course I did the right thing. So eventually, to cut the long story short, I made a mess. I made an absolute mess. The stew was tasteless. It was not well done. My mother, of course, was not happy with me, but there was nothing she could do. She just told me that next time I should pay attention, and next time that I should wait for her to give me instructions, and if I was not clear with her instructions, I should make sure I ask for clarification. So that was how everything ended. So what is the moral lesson from the story? The moral lesson is that so many of us, opportunities come our way, but we don't take those opportunities. We feel like, oh, we are still young, there's still time for us to learn, there's still time for us to learn this trade, there's still time for us to pick up skills. But in actual fact, there are some opportunities that when they come our way, they never come back. So guys, whenever we have opportunities to learn things, be it a skill, be it a trade, let us take these opportunities, because they may not come back to us. So that's all I have for you today, guys. I hope you enjoyed my story. So if you also had a similar experience, please feel free to share with us in the comment section. We would also like to laugh with you and also to learn anything also from you guys. Till we see you again, it's bye for now from Monix. Bye guys.